Tan Guru Nanak, Tan Guru Nanak, Tan Guru Nanak. Divine Will, Chapter 2. Now we come to the most complex, diabolical, incomprehensible, and mysterious creature, called man. Man was made in the image of God, who provided his Son with all the necessities and luxuries of life in abundance, and created Eve as his playmate and consort in the heaven of Eden on earth, to live in and enjoy the blessings of joy, bliss, kindness, and love of his divine Father, God. To play a game and make it interesting and entertaining, two opposite, strong teams are essential. Even in democratic institutions, a strong opposition is required for efficient and healthy working of democracy. Similarly, the all-wise Providence has created an opposite power of Maya to avoid the boredom of casual, routine life, break the monotony of life, make life interesting and entertaining, create the sense of competition, instill the ambition for better life, drive the mind for higher achievements, compete in probing into the mysteries of nature, experiment in the vagaries of Maya in all its aspects, search for the ultimate goal of life, i.e., divinity, and finally to realize the illusion of Maya and attain spiritual illumination. Darkness has no existence. It is an elusive condition created by the absence of light. Similarly, Maya has no existence except in our elusive consciousness. Maya has no power of its own. It derives its power from our lack of our faith in the divine. In other words, the power of Maya has its roots in our disbelief in God. The power of Maya has its roots in our disbelief in God. Darkness is the cause of a trail of illusions, misunderstandings, sufferings, miseries, which are spontaneously obliterated when the light comes. Similarly, the illusion of Maya brings with it a trail of baser elements of ego, selfishness, lust, greed, attachment, jealousy, hatred, strife, quarrels and wars, and what not, to make our life so degenerated, unhappy, frustrated, vicious, and miserable. On the other hand, in the light or sunshine we are blessed with and enjoy all the attributes and qualities of the sun. Similarly, when our soul basks in the sunshine of divine faith and love of our beloved Father God, we partake and enjoy all the divine blessings of compassion, kindness, benevolence, tender care, magnanimity, and above all, love divine. It is obvious that in the divine scheme of the cosmic drama there are two different, opposite, and contradictory aspects of consciousness, of divinity and elusive Maya. These states of consciousness represent the duality of the nature in every aspect of its manifestation: light and darkness, good and bad, virtue and vice, love and hatred, selflessness and selfishness, happiness and sorrow, bliss and misery, life and death, cold and hot, kindness and cruelty, health and disease, angels and devils, heaven and hell. These opposite elements work and exert against each other to render the universal play, interesting, entertaining, colorful, emotional, dramatic, impressive, infectious, educative, corrective, revealing, emancipating, enlightening, and illuminating for the participating souls, and help them in their search for the ultimate goal of salvation and freedom through their own gruesome and hard experiences. It should be remembered that Maya exists, works, and gains strength in the illusion of our consciousness. Therefore, it is again only in the sphere of our consciousness that we can ignore, deny, and be free from the dreadful clutches of this devil Maya. The whole universe is unconsciously working and obeying the divine will on different planes of consciousness, and gradually working up their evolution under the direction of the divine law. But the story of human beings is different and unique. God has gifted the human mind with profound intelligence and freedom, so that he can intellectually play higher and subtler cosmic drama on finer planes of consciousness, and enact and fulfill the sublimer spiritual aspect of the divine drama. Somehow we have come under the spell of elusive Maya through our own ignorance and past karmas, and our consciousness has transcended from the divine realm to the lower plane of self-consciousness or ego. In this lower consciousness, we are apt to lose faith in God and forget and ignore him. Gradually, under the magic spell of the elusive Maya, we conveniently refuse to understand, grasp, follow, or obey the authority of the divine will, and unconsciously get out of tune with the benevolent flow of divine will. Consequently, we try to modify, pollute, dilute, substitute, or confuse the divine will with our own egoistic will, and become subject to the cosmic karmic law. To illustrate this subtle point, let us take the case of the fetus in the womb of mother. Since its inception in the womb till its birth into the world, the process of its nurturing, nursing, subsistence, growth, development, and delivery is wonderfully arranged, supervised, and governed by the silent, kind, and benevolent divine will in the tender cozy womb of the mother, under the tender motherly care of divine law, without any outside interference, guidance, help, intelligence, scheming, or advice. This is one of the concrete, practical, wonderful, and awe-striking miracles of divine intelligence, divine wisdom, divine benevolence, divine love, and divine grace. After birth, the same tender care and love of divine will works through the mother to bring up the innocent baby. As the intelligence of the baby is developed, it recognizes its parents and surroundings, and is influenced by the prevailing environment and surrounding company. Thus, his innocence is gradually overpowered and replaced by his own self-consciousness, and he starts exhibiting his ego through I, me, and mine. As the child grows up and his intelligence is developed, he asserts his ego everywhere, and his arrogance is manifested in all aspects of his life. In proportion to the development of his egoistic consciousness, he loses belief and faith in divinity and becomes arrogant, profane, and aggressive, thereby becoming a complete slave of the elusive Maya with the trails of all its vices and resultant sufferings. Thus he deprives himself of all the divine blessings of compassion, kindness, tender care, benevolence, magnanimity, and love, which he unconsciously enjoyed during his sojourn in and out of the womb. He forgets that all these divine blessings are his own divine heritage, and are inherent and inlaid in his sublime consciousness. If only he cares to realize his divine heritage and turn back to his divine kingdom. On the other hand, in our egoistic consciousness, our souls are cut off from the benevolent flow of divine blessings and are left to fend for ourselves, thereby suffer the consequences of our own thoughts and deeds in accordance with the cosmic law of karma. As you sow, so shall you reap. It is ironical to think that the divine prince, i.e., human soul, has to suffer all the unhappiness and miseries of the materialistic world just because he failed to remember, understand, realize, grasp, believe in, and claim his heritage of divine kingdom of love and grace. This divine kingdom of love and grace is already inlaid in every soul and can be realized and enjoyed by inheritance, without claiming, without earning, just for the taking, by his grace. Where supreme, benevolent, kind, magnanimous, loving divine will prevails and works silently, engulfing the whole universe. It is unfortunate that the human being, created in the image of God, should be so indoctrinated and illusioned by the magic spell of the glittering Maya as to forget, ignore, and deny his divine heritage, and deprive himself of the benevolent, loving care and blessings of the divine will. Thus he becomes a prodigal son. It is all the more ironical and amusing that, in spite of keen intelligence, high education, scientific research, numerous religions, profound philosophies, glut of scriptures, innumerable doctrines, surfeit of rituals and rites, and countless religious teachings, we human beings have not been able to discern, understand, comprehend, realize, grasp, recognize, identify, neutralize, expose, and curb the influence and spell of false egoistic illusion. In fact, the Maya has made use of our intelligence and emotions to run its own empire to our detriment and misery. To differentiate and clarify the working of the divine will in various aspects of nature, let us take the illustration of rose. From 1. The seedling to the plant. 2. The budding to the full blooming rose. 3. Final withering and annihilation. A golden thread of divine life current flows into every fiber of its existence to develop, nourish, and sustain the plant, and to bestow the rose with fragrance, coloring, beauty, tenderness, exquisiteness, and charm, under the invisible and secret supervision and blessings of the benevolent divine will.